Hello, I'm Rolf Dane, the author of the book Deep Clearing, Releasing the Power of Your Mind. Today I want to tell about the emotional charge, what it is and how to release it. First of all, what is emotional charge? Well, the typical thing that we see in our everyday life is people that overreact emotionally. It can be road rage. It can be fears, irrational fears. It can be depression, for that matter. A person who feels overwhelmed by small things and cannot get anything to happen in his life. And these are all actions and emotions that are kind of out of proportion with the situation, and therefore we call it emotional charge, because it's typically charges that are triggered from earlier events, or piled up emotions from all kinds of events that gets triggered and kind of affects the person right here and now. So one definition for emotional charge is it's a type of mental energy that is stored in our unconscious or subconscious mind, what we call the repressed mind, because much of it is repressed content from earlier events that were emotionally stressful, and now it comes to the surface and kind of explodes or manifests itself out of context with what's happening. So to understand emotional charge, of course, we also have to understand emotion, and the way we understand emotion, it's a type of energy, a mental energy that is very much connected to being alive. We have different emotions with different life energy to it. If we take the least energetic things, it would be things like apathy, including depression and so on. The person is easily overwhelmed. They cannot get enough energy together to do something about his or her situation. A little above that, we would have fear, where the person is overreacting to the smallest threats from the environment, remarks and so on, can make the person fearful. At one level we would have anger, antagonism, where the person is very kind of aggressive, but it's also a turbulent state where nothing really is clear. There's not a clear direction. There's the common sense, the rationality is shut down. Above that we have things like interest, where the person is just kind of outgoing interest, and you have enthusiasm and so on. The person is very outgoing, is quite rational about how he or she goes about doing things, and therefore it's a much more desirable state. So also what we should understand about emotion is that it's a very important part of our communication, both with our own bodies but also with other people. According to Chinese traditional medicine, emotions can make us sick. They have 7 emotions, 7 basic emotions they work from, and each of these 7 emotions is connected to a certain organ in the body. And if that particular organ is sick, the Chinese doctor will check for any emotional content, and he may be able to release it somehow with acupuncture and acupressure. And what we do in Deep is, of course, finding the actual and witnessing emotional content and releasing it in the session, and that will also in many cases cause the person to get an improved health. Yeah, as mentioned, emotions is also an important part of our communication with others. In order to get support and interaction with others, we need to express our emotions appropriate to the situation. This started in very early childhood, where the babies cry, they express grief, you could say, and that's a call for help. Of course, in politics, they often kind of use anger to smear the opponent and get the troops to rally behind them. And an entrepreneur doing projects and needing support from both investors and staff, he is best served with using, enthusiasm, interest, and so on, and arise some support by, making the people around him rally and be interested in what he's doing and find it's worthwhile, and so on. We mentioned our definition that emotion can be bottled up in the unconscious, subconscious mind, what we call the repressed mind. And that's the key to charge, you could say. So emotional charge is things that it has been bottled up and locked up in past events. The person kind of tried to hold them off, to not be the effect of it. And that doesn't mean that it kind of goes away. It just means that you put a lid on it, and now they can be triggered by similar events, or they can make your mood go down gradually over time the more you bottle up of this type of energy. There's one experiment that shows something about what emotional charge is, and to do that experiment you use an instrument called a biomonitor or galvanic skin response meter, and you have the test person like holding two electrodes in the hands, or they are connected to the fingertips, and then the first thing you do is you take his arm and you give him a good pinch. So it really hurts, and that's a mini trauma, if you will. You have the energy from this body reaction will be stored in your electrical field and in the body itself. And now you have the test person kind of think of other things, and nothing happens on the meter there. Then you have him think of this particular pinch, and you will see a reaction on the instrument, and each time he thinks of the little injury, he will have a reaction on the instrument, and this will then fade off after a few times recalling this pinch, and after a few minutes there will be no reaction, and the person will not be able to feel any pain connected to the pinch either. And this is a very central experiment in DEEP, because it's kind of showing how you can release this charge by just witnessing it, by recalling it and let it be, and let it into awareness, and just sit with it, and it will evaporate mysteriously. So emotional charge, it has an electrical nature, and to illustrate it, we could compare it to, there's a physics experiment in most schools where you manufacture static electricity. You use kind of a ball electrical instrument, and you have one of the students put her hand on the ball there, and it will generate plus electricity with nowhere to go, and her hair will stand out in all directions, and that's because she's all charged up with electrical positive electricity, and it all kind of repel. All the hairs repel each other, and therefore they stand out like you know, as you see in the picture. And this is a good illustration of what charge is, because it has nowhere to go, and that's why it kind of affects you so deeply. And in deep and other therapies, the way to go about it is to have the person discharge it to the clearer, to the coach, and just by telling about it, by witnessing it, the coach helps the what we call the introspector, the client, to hold the client's space, so the client feels safe to go into these experiences, and the client then just witnesses the the emotional charge and let it flow freely, kind of flows it to the coach. It doesn't really hit the coach, but it flows, and just by being witnessed, and then the charge will kind of go away. It will evaporate mysteriously, and the charge will be handled. So what we typically do is contact emotionally charged incidents, stressful incidents, trauma, and so on, and have the person kind of witness, recall what happened, recall the emotions in it, the thoughts, the efforts, which is movement and energy, physical type of energies, and just witness them and telling about them, and the telling and the witnessing will make them evaporate, will release them, and they'll be gone forever. And that's basically what we do in deep clearing. We contact these repressed energies of different wavelengths. As we have emotion, we have thought, and we have physical action and the physical energies, what we call efforts usually, and these can be released by addressing them, using questions, and having the person showing them and go through them, and that will release the energies, and they will be gone forever. And that's how we can handle serious events, traumas, and so on. Maybe it's not done all in one session, but gradually over a few sessions, even serious traumas will be handled this way, and all the energy is gone, and you'll feel great. That's what we mean by we can transform, we can transform trauma and stress to life experience, because when all this charge is released from the incidents, you can kind of get new realizations. You can get a little bit wiser about how to handle similar situations in the future, and you will just grow a little bit step by step. And that's what I had to tell you about today. Thank you for listening, and see you again in a little while.